Yo, what up? Welcome back to a Stiff Receipt. So, we're gonna talk about Crocs' favorite topic, CM
I'm gonna
Punk.
hurt you.
So, for those of you who've been living under a rock on the moon,
Ow.
CM Punk had, quite the interesting media scrum thing where he basically just buried everybody in the building and then decided to fist fight the Elite. And there was a dog involved, and he also got injured and hasn't been on TV since. And it's been what, like, how long? 8 months?
It's been about 6
months?
7, somewhere in there.
7 months or whatever.
Yeah,
And it's
somewhere in
been mostly radio silence that whole time. There's been like a few little
Well-
nods at stuff on like Instagram from Punk, but most everything has been mostly silent until this past like month or so.
And then it
And
just exploded.
there's a pattern to this, right? And it's like one of the things that was pointed out was like most everybody had a positive experience with Punk backstage, but when he got back from injury, there was like a shift, and it was hard to work with. So, and I've noticed now, like we were mostly silent, but the thing that started this whole thing here this last month was somebody asked Dave about everything, and what Dave said about the Moxley Punk match, it was being so short, was it's like, why was it so short? Why would they plan this? Whatever. Dave Meltzer said that Punk agreed to the build for the Moxley Punk match being so short. CM Punk changed his mind and sent a letter to AEW's legal team or whatever that he wasn't going to do the match. But Tony was like, you have to do the match. I'm putting my foot down. You got to do it. So CM Punk did it. He, that was what Dave Meltzer said. And you know how much Punk likes Meltzer and all those guys. So Punk obviously saw that and got pissed. But what happened to him, according to his Instagram story, was he was not cleared to return. He was not medically cleared, which makes sense. He was injured. According to him, the plan was to wrestle at the pay-per-view. Moxley had this Rocky 3 idea. Punk had said he had never seen a Rocky movie and thought the idea sucked, but Tony wanted it to happen. And he said, fine, whatever, I'll do it. But then Moxley said that he was not going to lose to Punk. He absolutely refused. And he said, I've never in my life experienced someone that just refused to lose to me. I just laughed. I asked Tony if this is what he wanted. And he said, yes. So I said, okay. And then finishes off by saying that Chris Jericho and Dave Meltzer are liars.
And he also called Chris Jericho a stooge.
A stooge, yes. And the Chris Jericho thing seemed really random to me. I know Chris Jericho made a comment about it him being a cancer in the past, but it felt like really random.
Yeah.
I figured out why he mentioned Jericho specifically in that, because it is actually believed that, apparently, I didn't know this, is apparently believed that Chris Jericho is like Dave Meltzer's like #1 source.
Oh no. You're right about that. Okay, so everybody thought it was the Young Bucks. That's my favorite part of this. That's my favorite part of this whole thing. Everybody thinks it's the Young Bucks or the Elite or Tony talking directly to Dave. Come to find out, it's probably Jericho's fat fucking mouth in the whole thing.
That's what I thought was so funny, because I didn't know that was regarded as a thing, but apparently it is. Like, Chris Jericho is allegedly the guy.
He's apparently a gossip,
that
like just a woman when it comes to that kind of thing, like that kind of stereotype.
And
like,
it's I would say it's like, oh, whatever, but like, it's Chris Jericho, so I could see that being real. No,
it made total sense as soon as somebody said that. As soon as I read that and I heard somebody else say it on a podcast, it was like, oh no, that makes sense for Jericho. That's exactly what I think of Jericho. Like, not anything, but he just seems like the kind of guy that's like, hey man, you ever heard this? Hey man, I got something to tell you. Listen to this shit. Like, he would be that guy. And he's done that with other stuff. He's told stuff that other people haven't. He's the one that got Mox to do the interview. Yeah. He's no problem telling everything, if need be, or if he feels like he's gonna get something out of it, and whatever with Dave. So, but that's hilarious. That's my favorite part of this.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was so funny because I had no idea that was a thing. But it was obviously he said some shit and like it kind of pissed Moxley off. But I'll go into that in a minute because there's a lot to go with that. But something else that was talked about is Punk and Omega had a talk after the brawl,
Yes.
like directly after the brawl.
Yes.
And allegedly, Punk said to Kenny that issue isn't with you. And apparently, Kenny was like, he was composed during the talk, and they had like a talk, and it was like civil, right? Nobody,
Yes.
Nobody knows the exact details or realistically if it actually happened. I guess there's sources that say it happened, but like,
There's
we don't know if there
yeah.
was like some kind of apology or like, whatever. But apparently that did happen. Which, I mean, to be fair, realistically, regardless of like what did happen with the brawl itself, it really didn't involve Kenny to begin with. He was just kind of there because he was with the Bucks. It was the Bucks and Punk that had the beef, and then Kenny Omega ended up getting bitten by what the fuck is his name? I don't even remember his name. Ace Steel, yeah.
Oh God.
Like, yo, I'm sorry about him, man. I could just see that conversation. They're like backstage. They're just like talking, having a conversation. Like, man, I can't believe I got bit. And Punk's like, oh shit, did Larry bite you, dude? And he's like, no, Ace did.
Oh God, that's hilarious.
Oh fuck.
No, dude, I always forget about that. And then we were thinking about it just now. Or I was thinking about it just now. I was like, he got bit by Ace Steel.
Ace Steel. That is still
hilarious.
the best part about that original
That
event.
whole interaction, my favorite part is I can picture in my head exactly what Kenny was doing.
I can see him biting
trying,
Kenny.
especially when it's like, I'm trying to grab the dog to get it out, is what everybody said Kenny was trying to do.
Right.
Like he was trying to save Larry.
Which I also
But what happened is he got in between people and then Ace just bit down on his arm.
He was just a casualty to the situation, I imagine. Which would make sense.
No, it really does. And that one actually, when I saw that they had said that, because I saw the same thing you did, and it was like, that makes sense. Because the only reason I figured Kenny went with the Bucks is because he was probably trying to calm them down.
Right. And that's what I was thinking.
To both of them, because Kenny doesn't.
He probably went to be the mediator of the situation, but not.
And it just didn't work because
so that we wouldn't get into like this big fight, which obviously didn't work.
Well, that didn't work well because CM Punk is CM Punk, and the Young Bucks, for whatever. I like the Young Bucks, but they're the Young Bucks.
Kenny Omega just seems like such the nicest dude,
Too nice for me to think that he went there to go get in a fight.
Right.
Now, do I think that he would finish a fight? I don't think I could beat him. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I couldn't beat him up, but I don't think he would want to be like, "Hey, man, why hassling me?" Like, I don't know. You're a really nice Canadian dude. I don't know what I'm doing here.
But
I'm sorry. But no, like this, it's getting weird.
It is. And it makes more sense that we're hearing shit now, because it's at the injury is like Punk is training again. He's posting on Twitter or on Instagram. I mean, and it's we're getting to the time where he's like good from injury, so it makes sense that we're starting to see more stuff. I mean, we saw even some stuff like last month. I don't remember the exact quote. I was going to talk about it in the podcast, but I forgot about it. But he had like a teaser, like a Ring of Honor teaser. I don't remember what the thing was exactly. Like make it almost seem like he could be going to Ring of Honor. There was another one where he did like a quote of like a forgiveness quote about like forgiveness isn't about liking each other. It's about just like, resolving this stuff and then moving on, right? I don't remember what the exact quote was, but that was also a thing.
And then he's also talking about reading the book that he's been reading. I can't remember whose autobiography it is.
Yeah, and then that's got him like back in the wanting to wrestle and whatnot. But so apparently during this whole thing, time period and whatnot, there's been like he's had numerous meetings with Tony. Like him and Punk have had like several meetings and whatnot. I mean, nobody knows what that entails, obviously. But one thing that was an interesting detail that I noticed was All Out had a venue change from where it was originally supposed to be, and it is now back in the United Center in Chicago. So, I mean, if there's a time to do it, it would be then, and that would be more than enough time for Punk to be healed and ready to go.
And it could give everybody a little bit of space.
Yeah.
As well on the other side of it to continue working. I'm good with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't see an issue here.
And
here's my thing, and this is gonna go into the rant when it comes to it.
Yeah.
Just be cool. I don't care, man. If y'all don't like each other, no one gives
Right.
no
It
one gives a
doesn't-
damn.
Just move.
I don't
just
care.
Move on, everybody.
Just
do
move
their own
on.
thing.
Either everybody just go their own way and shut up about it, everybody, and just be like,
Yeah.
it didn't work out, and move on. That would be great. Or everybody just go, I don't like you, but I can work with you
I still
because we make
think
a lot of money. And it's like I would rather do that.
I still think the
But
biggest
who
match
knows?
that could be booked in wrestling right now is the Elite versus CMFTR.
Yes, I think you're right because that's a lot.
It would absolutely be just it would be it's one of those matches that you would think is unthinkable, never would happen, and everybody would be everybody loves fucking the Elite. Everybody loves FTR. Not everybody loves CM Punk, but everybody does know that CM Punk and the Elite had that freaking brawl at All Out. So having that match would just be incredible. Like, I can't even fathom. Like, it would probably, if they did that at like the main event at whatever pay-per-view, like it would probably be the highest grossing pay-per-view that AEW has ever done. The last bit in the whole CM Punk saga over the past 3 weeks is Moxley's response to the. I mean, CM Punk said
It
like,
wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to
Right.
be. Let's put it that way.
Punk said a few things like about Moxley and like his idea for the match being stupid and whatnot. He didn't like directly like insult him or anything.
No.
But Moxley is definitely the guy who doesn't want to get involved, and it's pretty obvious. But
No, and he's been very quiet about everything.
everything,
And
not just
yeah.
this, literally
No,
everything.
everything, because he does. Well, he's not that kind of guy, anyways. He's never been that guy.
Right.
He didn't want to talk about anything, and he only did it with WWE because he was leaving, and it was like I have to tell everybody
What was
because
it?
everybody's got to understand why I left.
I remember, like, what was it, the tweet? He was like, I don't use social media, but my book is out, and everybody should go buy it. Or something like that.
Yeah, I love him. He's the best, man. I seriously, everything I learn about Mox, I'm like, I like you.
But so Moxley basically, he started off. She asked him about. Funny enough, it was his wife that was interviewing him.
Yeah, it's
wasn't it?
Renee. It's,
Yeah, which
yeah. It's,
I was like, man, that sounds like her, but surely that's not her interviewing him, because I feel like that'd
Yeah.
be weird. But no, it was.
no, it's her podcast.
Right? Yeah. I know.
She's always.
I just
He's
thought that
always
was-
on there.
I just thought that was funny because
And that she was definitely gonna take the fucking chance that when
Yeah.
somebody opens their mouth about her husband, she's like, "Hey, would you like to come on the show?" He's like, "Yeah, fine, whatever."
But-
I guess.
she asked him about the CM Punk's comment or whatever. I don't remember the exact question, but he said that stupid shit on social media news shouldn't be news, but it is. I don't want to get dragged into this. I could unload a lot on a lot of fucking people right now. He used fucking and shit a lot.
Oh, he was.
I just
pissed.
didn't write down all the shits
was-
and fucks.
He was done.
And when I get dragged into this shit, it tempts me to do that, but I'm not going to sink to their level. He goes on to talk about that during that time with the Punk was talking about the short build and the rocky shit that he didn't like. During that time, Moxley was actually not on contract with AEW. He was free agent.
I know.
And he never said that, never talked about it. Quite as he said, quite frankly, it's nobody's fucking business. And
Yeah, he's paying me for the matches that I'm doing. That's
right.
what's happening at that time.
so he was not on
Per
contract.
match.
He literally said that that night he could have showed up to fucking SummerSlam, and he said, "Fuck
Yeah, I know.
fucking
I know.
SummerSlam with the
Like, that's
goddamn belt."
hilarious. That is hilarious.
And he did. It's like he didn't have to do anything. He didn't have
No.
to bend over backwards to accommodate Tony and Punk in his return, but he did anyway.
Yeah, because
And
he's not an asshole,
Right.
actually. Well, he is,
And
but he's not that kind of
he's
asshole.
well. There's different kinds of assholes. He's an asshole, but
Exactly.
not that kind of asshole.
Yeah.
And then he finished off by saying, like, again, he never like directly like talks about anybody. I mean, it's
No.
obviously who he's talking about, but like he never directly says anything about anybody specific. But the last
No.
part is like, I've never said anything negative about AEW. He said he doesn't think he's ever said anything negative about AEW, but I will say this. I spent 8 years in the indie, a couple of years in developmental, and then 8 years in WWE, and I have never seen so much bullshit drama in one place in my entire life. So I feel like that speaks volumes.
All I'm thinking about right now is like everybody wants CM Punk to come back. It doesn't matter, man. Just do whatever. I'm just tired of seeing all this.
I think
I don't care.
The big thing I think that was said, that you said, that makes that I feel like explains most everything is Tony Khan being too lenient and
He
too nice.
is.
I think
He's
that's the
too
problem.
nice.
That's why
It
Vince
is.
McMahon has been so successful, because he's a piece of shit and he's an asshole. You know, he doesn't give a fuck. He literally doesn't give a fuck. And Tony Khan gives too much of a fuck, you know?
Well, no, you're right. There's a line, though. That's the whole point, is you have to have
a middle ground.
You can be nice. You can be a good guy. You can make sure everybody likes you. But when you're sitting next to your current champion who just got done having a championship match and winning the championship back, and he's bleeding. Obviously, we don't know this at the time, but he's torn a pectoral muscle. I'm sure he knows it at the time. And he sits down next to you, and the first thing he does is continue to talk about one of your top stars, the 3 EVPs in your company, and everybody else under the fucking sun. What are you supposed to do in that situation? You're supposed to look at him and say, listen, you either need to leave or shut up.
I don't know what...
And talk and answer the question.
Realistically,
I would have done it in front of him.
I mean, with the cameras and everything, I don't know what would be the proper way to handle that situation.
The proper way is to show everybody you're in charge.
Well, I don't think there is a proper way. Like, that would be better than just sitting there and being embarrassed and just getting shit on, for sure.
Do you want it? Honest to God, when it comes to a situation like that, the only thing this goes to how you handle people. If you're going to sit there and disrespect me by talking about everybody in my company in front of me, then I have no respect for you in this situation. You have to show them that you don't have a problem telling them in front of everybody to sit down and shut up and answer the questions that these people are going to ask you, or leave, and then we can deal with this later. Because that's how it should have gone. He should have looked at him like he was a man and said, listen,
I think
you can shut up, or we can continue with this, or you can leave.
I think honestly he was probably more in shock than anything else. It's like, what?
Yeah, no, he was, but at the same time,
what is happening?
You have to go.
Is this real life?
You have to say something. You have, yeah, exactly. But he was deer in the headlights, like I've never seen anybody.
Dude,
like I've never seen a human being, because I've been surprised by stuff like that, and even I've gone, listen, dude, you need to shut up before you get us both in trouble. We're both gonna be in trouble. Shut up.
I do like.
And I've been able to do that, but it's one of those things. You have to do something. If you cannot make the decision right there to let him do this on the internet now, we're videoing this. This is live.
The thing about it is, if he would have done that, the fight would never have happened.
No, never. No.
If he would have stopped him before he started like in on the EVPs, like that fight would never happen, and then
there should have been
mattered.
2 things he did. He should have said something akin to what I said. Almost exactly be like ego. He should have said something close to what I was saying. Maybe a little bit nicer, but I'm again an asshole. But the other thing he should have done is, okay, you're gonna shut up, and then the next thing is, hey, somebody send a security guard over to the elite and make sure they don't leave their locker room.
Yeah.
And then that would have ended the whole thing.
The whole thing
make sure they either leave the building or don't leave their locker room. You need to go to your locker room, and then once everybody decides where they're going, you can leave.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing this. The whole point is he allowed all of this to happen.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is.
That's true.
Now, is it something where he may be one of those? I don't know if he knew what to do in that situation. You've ever been put there.
I honestly I would have done. I would have been the same situation. Honestly, I would have been sitting there.
Seems frozen. Asinine. That seems asinine that he's never been in that situation.
No, I know, because he owns a fucking sports team. Like,
he runs a goddamn a football team from the UK,
right.
So soccer, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is full of more roided out human beings than you've ever seen in your entire life in WWE. It's the same type of people. Here, in the other thing when it comes to CM Punk, you have to either deal with him or don't. Like, either do something about him or you can't have him. That's it. Either deal with him exactly as he should be or don't. And just leave him be. Because here's the thing. If you can't make it, and he thinks he's working out to get back. If he's rehabbing to get strong and to have his mobility back to have a better life. That's it. If he thinks that he's going to try and get somebody to book him, I'm sure there will be some freaking carny idiot out there that will be like, well, CM Punk can make us a whole lot of money. Let's book him. But you shouldn't, because he can't prove himself, because all he does is he got hurt in a match. He's pissed off that somebody called him out. So he goes scorched earth on an entire company and bombs the whole thing for the next month and a half.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Phil. And he's done this a second time. I saw a comment somewhere that someone's like, he didn't do this in the Indies. You never heard about that in the Indies. It's like, listen, I've heard of a lot of people talk about him getting the shit kicked out of him by Teddy Hart. So you can tell me anything.
Like Punk?
Yeah.
And that goes back to like what we were saying earlier. Like, that was, forever ago. Like, way before the social media was like it is today. I'm sure there's all kinds of stories that we just don't know about.
No, because there's people that have told the stories, which is like how he's treated Kevin Owens. Because Kevin Owens even was very and I hate watching Kevin Owens tell the story of CM Punk being a complete dick to him, but he was. And Kevin Owens can try and play it off and say, oh, Punk is a nice guy. He treated Kevin Owens like shit because Kevin Owens was the guy that didn't want to do what he wanted him to do, which is what Ring of Honor wanted him to do. Kevin Owens wanted to go out there looking like Kevin Owens does now, but they wanted Kevin Owens to wrestle in tights instead.
Yeah, I remember that whole story.
And the way that you can tell by the way that Kevin is saying it, and he's even trying to be apologetic and be nice and be fair, you can tell CM Punk is an asshole.
Yeah.
Now, the other story is Teddy Hart in Ring of Honor, which we don't really take Teddy Hart at face value, but when a couple of people have corroborated the story, CM Punk basically got punked by Teddy Hart. So, yeah, that happened, and it's because Punk has a mouth. So does Teddy Hart, fair.
Yeah,
but I mean, no one's saying Teddy Hart is Teddy Hart. We all need to accept that. We all know who he is. He's got a whole 2-episode documentary and everybody should watch that's just crazy on Hulu. Is it Hulu? Or it's Peacock. I'm sorry.
Peacock.
It's Peacock. It is on Peacock. It's very good. Watch it. But like, he's crazy, but he's been consistently getting into stuff the entire time he's existed. So yeah, they are existed in wrestling. So yeah, I look at it and now it's a pattern and I'm like, why would anybody want to pick him up? Nobody does. Nobody should, unless you come back and actually prove yourself. But I don't even know if he can do that at this point, because he continues to talk. Everybody else continues to talk, and nobody wants to do anything except for the few people that do.
Just wild. Everything started out like so well, and then just like went to shit.
That's basically CM Punk in a nutshell. When CM Punk started at WWE, everything was fine. When CM Punk started at ROH, everything was fine. But you get him up there at the top a little bit, you get him in there, you get him entrenched, something will happen and he'll just snap. And every time it's been he got hurt and now he doesn't want to go back to work. Which, fair enough, he's gotten hurt and he's gotten pissed off. And maybe this last time he's getting a little bit protective of himself because of what actually did happen to him in WWE. I'm never going to take away anything bad that happened to him.
What's funny about that is like, that's this, I love hearing him talk about that because it's like, it's the same story as hearing Bret Hart talking about Goldberg. It's CM Punk talking about Ryback.
My God. You nailed it.
Same situation.
It literally is Bret Hart talking about Goldberg.
And there's a lot of weirdness with like Chris Jericho. I mean, he made that comment about how CM Punk was a cancer or whatever. But then, like, a month or two ago, Chris Jericho talked about, like CM Punk wrestling, he talked about CM Punk and whatever match that he was in at whatever WWE show, and how it was great working with him, and it was a good match and all that. Which, I mean, I guess that could be separated from him as a person realistically, but then CM Punk like shitting on Jericho because he's lying about shit. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It seems very snake-like. Especially since we're talking about Chris Jericho being Dave Meltzer's #1 source. Chris Jericho just seems like a fucking snake, is what it sounds like.
I don't know if I call him a snake. What I think Jericho is a bit of a carny. Yeah. And he's also a gossip. Yeah. He's a big gossipy bitch is what he is. It's just one of those things where the most telling part about that is you can have somebody like Mox say something, you can have somebody like Jericho say something, you can have the Elite say something if they actually came out and said it, or anybody else who's been reporting and talking about stuff backstage and how things are going. You can have any of them say something. You want to know the most telling person that said something recently that I thought was the most impactful to what anybody should think about the situation?
Who?
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins standing there and be like, you want to talk about the Punk situation? He goes, or what would you do if Punk came back? He goes, I don't want him back. He's not good for a locker room. He's been good to me. He's been great, but I don't want him back. Nobody should. And it's like, shit, dude. Okay.
There was there was more to that interview than just that. Hey. So I'm sure there was probably like,
no, I watched the whole interview,
right? But like Seth Rollins is still Seth Rollins. But
Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins, but that was actually one of those
sure,
moments where it was fully out of
like
kayfabe, like he was shooting.
I believe like like what he says, but like at the same time, I imagine there's some exaggeration to it because it's Seth Rollins.
Yeah, well, no, Seth Rollins isn't always. I mean, because I've talked crap about Seth Rollins because he's ridiculous.
I
But
fucking love Seth Rollins so much.
no, I love Seth
that's
Rollins,
beside
but
the
he's
point.
also he's also kind of another one of those kind of whiny bitches online.
Yeah.
But he's also stopped that, and I actually haven't really seen anything about it. But the thing about it was, when I watched it, it was the whole interview was there, and it was just really quick, and they were kind of asking him things about the way things were going for whatever pay-per-view they were at, and
Yeah.
somebody said something, and he goes, no, he's a cancer, he's not good, he's bad, there's no way that's going to be good for anything. I don't want him back in
I
here.
don't like even
He given me a chance in both Ring of Honor and in WWE, and he's done a lot of good things for me, but I don't want him here.
I
And
don't
that
like-
should
there's-
tell you everything you need
and
to
there's
know.
even there's not, you know, like not everybody hates CM Punk, and even the people that don't have
hate
like
him
even
in ring.
even the well, I mean like him like as a person is what I mean.
Oh well,
Like, not,
I mean that's
not
but
everybody hates
even
him
then
as
I don't hate him.
well, not
Like, you know
everybody
what I
like
mean?
hates him as a person or doesn't like have like a
Yeah.
whole lot of negative things to say about him, but even like there are the people that have had only good experiences and they think he's
Right.
fine, and there's the dudes that have
Right.
only negative experience, but there's also the guys that like don't really have like negative things to say about him, but they've got some like comments on like how his behavior was. I know I've heard Triple H say in interviews where there would be times where like somebody from the locker room would approach him. He was like, it's like, yo, CM Punk is pissed. Like, you need to go talk to him or something and see what's going on. 'Cause he's not happy. And like Triple H would go talk to him. He's like, yo, like, man, what's up? Is there any problems or anything I can help you with or whatever? And CM Punk was just like, no, man, I'm all good. We're fine. And then like that would be the end of it. Like that's like it's just kind of weird.
It is one of those weird things where you don't get the full truth because there's a lot of people not saying anything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are saying stuff because they know possibly they look bad in the situation, that because you either look bad because you've done something or you look bad because you're talking about it,
And
which
a lot of
that's
it could
one
be-
thing's around. But it also is a situation where nobody just wants to talk about it, and so you
Right.
don't get a whole lot of interaction on what actually happened. So there could have been something somebody did, blah blah, but
and
it does
it
kind of make
also-
sense. Just
What the Triple H thing that I just mentioned. Like it could be just honestly an issue where he's just has a very big like fucking temper issue. Something really
He
fucking
does.
makes him mad, and he just goes all
Okay.
in. And then by the time
you-
Triple H comes to like remedy the situation or talk to him, like he's like past it and he's cooled down, or whatever.
No,
You know.
Here's what I've seen of what I can perceive of CM Punk, and based on some of his words because didn't he write a book about it, or he's talked about his life and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
the way that he is, he's one of those guys that's gonna get upset, gonna talk shit, gonna get really angry, gonna explode,
Yeah.
and then he's gonna bottle it up and keep it in, and then
Yes.
it's just gonna go bad.
Which I don't blame him because that's exactly what I do. But I don't go to
I have
public
a problem
media
with that as well
conferences and
sometimes.
just burying
Yeah,
everybody
I
that I
don't
know.
explode there. Usually it'd be to a point where I'd be like in crippling anxiety in a corner
right.
somewhere and be like, hey, we can't get Michael to come out here and like wrestle. He just keeps crying and asking for like you. I don't know what to do with him.
I will like
Hang on.
the mindset, not defending it. It's like I
Yeah.
get that when you have something that just really is upsetting or really makes you angry, which I'm a lot of that. If I was in that situation, a lot of that would have pissed me off. Realistically,
Yeah, no,
But, like,
I'm not saying that he was
when you
wrong about
have-
being angry. Yeah.
When you have that moment where you just finally just fucking let it out and just fucking go, it's just the most relieving thing in the world. Just maybe
Yeah,
don't
and-
do that in front of a bunch of cameras after a giant pay-per-view.
Yeah, don't. I mean, because like I said, like you said, just getting it out real quick.
All
If
right.
he had done that in the locker room and somebody came up, told him, and somebody asked, and he goes, "Oh man, I just was really frustrated earlier,
Yeah.
and I took it out on my bag. So we're all good. Sorry, I apologize. I think I'm good now. We're just gonna."
Yeah.
There's all kinds of conflicting things when it comes to CM Punk, because CM Punk absolutely did get the short end of the stick dealing with with WWE. He absolutely did. There's no denying
No,
it.
for sure.
It's what it is. Everybody should know it. Everybody does. He completely got screwed there. But there's a problem with him as well. Because
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that went down with WWE, with AEW, has been how he's handled things.
Yeah.
And as much as I like and enjoy his stuff, I think more than anything, he seems he doesn't seem to care about anything. Like, he says he cares about fans and stuff like that, but he'll be the first person that if he just doesn't like you for whatever reason,
Yeah.
just not give you the time of day. Doesn't matter what you spent, doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't even matter if you've interacted with him in any way, shape, or fashion. He's very dismissive. He's very judgmental.
Yeah.
I don't like him. That being said, he's a great wrestler and good for business. So keep him around as much as possible. If it doesn't destroy the backstage, which right now it seems to be doing. So
Just not. It seems like it's just not been great since then. But again, that goes back to just social media being
that was building
social
up
media.
too,
You know,
so I think that was building.
right? Like
The way
the shit was probably building
Mox
before
explains
then.
it probably was going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
Something was going to happen.
But all right, that's gonna do that for this video. What do you guys think? Do you think we'll see CM Punk back in AEW before too long? Think we'll see him at All Out?
let
Do
us
we think you'll never see him again? I don't know. Let me know in the comments section below.
Yes.
Do it. It's required by law. Big
Now.
fact. Big fact. So, if you're not subbed yet, you should definitely do so. If you've not liked the video, do that. And then check out all the social links down in the description below. Anyways, we're out of here. Peace out. Take it easy. Have a good one. And we'll see you guys all next time.
Peace.